You are Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
No chance the Knicks would fall into the dreaded trap on Monday with a brutal West Coast swing coming up. New York finished their homestand in style, routing the Wizards on Monday, 134-106 in front of a very pleased crowd. Needless to say, the Knicks did not look past Washington on Monday. Jalen Brunson didn't. Once again, led the way offensively, pumped in a game-high 26. The Knickerbockers have won 3 straight, now head out west for a very difficult 5-game swing. We will not see the Knicks at home again until December. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. You can follow me on X at Jay Berman. That's Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, we'll chat everything offense. All 5 Knicks starters were in double digits, which, of course, is nothing new. We've discussed it plenty. Knicks complete a very successful 4-game homestand. Their only loss was the brutal one to Chicago, which featured a 22-point turnaround, a 22-point comeback, a game they could have easily won. So they could have easily taken 4 on the homestand. Instead, we'll settle for 3-1. They've got their first 3-game win streak of the season, as we said, as they gear up for a very long road trip. All that coming up on the postcast. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Again, that's FanDuel.com. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks daily newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. All right, 134-106 from beginning to end. This was a masterful Knicks performance. One that was welcomed, if you will. As we said, a brutal West Coast swing, and we'll get to that coming up. But the Knicks by no means look past Washington tonight. Again, 134-106, the final score. Everybody that was in uniform tonight for the Knicks played, including everyone on the bench, and we'll get to that. We told you about Jalen Brunson, pumped in a game-high 26. Interestingly enough, and we talk about it all the time, and we will continue to talk about it all the time right here on the Locked On Knicks postcast, plus minus. Brunson was a plus 26. How about Mikal Bridges, who had 14? He was a plus 32, his best mark of the season so far. Karl-Anthony Towns, the best number on his stat line, despite the 24 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, was the fact that he played 25 minutes. No Knicks starter got into the 40s tonight, and thankfully, considering the way things have been 3 out of the last 4 nights and a back-to-back, Mikal Bridges led the way. He played 35 minutes. Josh Hart played 32. There were 5 bench guys to start the fourth quarter. You figured all 5 starters would remain on the bench the entire fourth quarter, but of course, Tibbs is a hard guy to please. The Wizards went on a mini run to start the fourth quarter. Josh Hart gets back in the game. Jalen Brunson gets back in the game, and at that point, you knew Tibbs was upset, despite the fact the Knicks had basically a 30-plus point lead really all night. As we said, everybody on the bench got run, with the exception of Deuce McBride, who, of course, didn't play. Still out with the inflamed left knee, missed his 3rd straight game. All right, here we go, bench-wise. Matt Ryan, Jacob Toppin, Jericho Sims, Ariel Hukporti, Cam Payne, Tyler Kolek, and Pacome Dadier all played tonight. Payne played 23 minutes, 19 for Jericho Sims, 18 for Dadier. So anyways, point being is the Knicks need to expand the reach of the bench. Coming into tonight, the bench had the lowest average points scored of any team in the league. The Knicks bench averaged just 18 points a game. They got 17 tonight from Payne, 9 from Dadier, who had 3 3-pointers, and so on and so forth. By the way, Payne a plus 19. He's been a godsend off the bench. And, of course, we're still waiting for the arrivals of Precious Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson, which should help in the middle. Again, Karl Anthony Towns, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 8 of 14 shooting, but played just 25 minutes, which, of course, is a huge benefit to the Knicks moving forward. And you figured this might be a trap game, but no such luck for the Washington Wizards. The Knicks, from pillar to post, really destroyed the Wizards tonight. 40-27. They outscored them in the first quarter. That's the highest scoring quarter this season for the Knicks. They had not put up 40 in a quarter until tonight. They did so in the first, putting up 40. They had 7 threes and 11 assists in the first quarter alone. And speaking of assists to turnovers, Knicks had 37 assists and just 8 turnovers. No player had more than 2 turnovers. In fact, 3 starters did not have a turnover. OG, Cat, and Jalen Brunson. Not a single turnover. And speaking of Brunson, that goes along with his 11 assists. Again, 26 and 11 and not a single turnover. 3 total turnovers for all 5 Knicks starters combined tonight. Really is a wonderful, wonderful way to promote offense. And the Knicks are dishing and then swishing. With forgiveness from Clyde, that's exactly what he would be saying, and that's exactly what we're saying. Knicks had 6 players in double digits tonight, all 5 starters, and then Payne, who had 5 3-pointers tonight. How about that? Payne really making a name for himself off the bench. Of course, when we get back, both Precious Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson, we will not see those 42, 45-minute games from the starters, especially guys in the middle. Karl Anthony Towns, specifically him. That's why after the knee 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago, then the back last night, on a back-to-back night, you figured Karl Anthony Towns wasn't going to play much more than 30 minutes. It's exactly what happened. He played 25. So kudos to Tibbs, who very much tried to enter the fourth quarter with no starters playing at all, but it didn't last very long. Just a couple of minutes in, Josh Hart got back into the game. So did Jalen Brunson. As we said, Brunson played 30 minutes. So did OG Anunoby. Anunoby had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. And again, the Knicks, 37 assists. 7 for Payne. How about that? Off the bench, he played just 23 minutes, had 17 points and 7 assists. And as we said, plus minus is a huge, huge number that we pay very close attention to. Payne was a plus 19. Ariel Hukporty got 6 minutes tonight. Of course, 2 games ago, he played well. Played 30 minutes, in fact. Played more than Jericho Sims, who got the start in place of Karl Anthony Towns a couple of games back. You figured Hukporty might play again, and he didn't yesterday, but he played tonight. Emptying the bench did Tom Thibodeau. Hukporty played 6 minutes, did have a basket. Amazingly, was a minus 15. So our apologies to Ariel Hukporty, who took it on the chin tonight. A minus 15 in a game they won by 28 and led by as many as 34. Of course, both teams coming off back-to-backs. Last night, the Knicks beat the Nets. The Wizards fell to the Pistons. And speaking of the Wizards falling, nothing new. 9 straight losses now. And of those 9, 5 of them by 20-plus points. The only team, they've beaten 1 team this year. They've got 2 wins. They're now 2-11. They've beaten the Atlanta Hawks twice. 1 in D.C., 1 in Atlanta, and that's been it. Wizards are 2-11, 1 win at home, 1 win on the road. All right, we'll take a look at that very difficult week coming up, really 2 weeks coming up. As we said, the Knicks will not play another home game until December. So we'll see you next month at the Garden. Again, we'll discuss that coming up next. All right, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy, which is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. You might be thinking, well, I don't have time. But with BetterHelp, you can connect with a therapist entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge until you find the perfect fit. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today. Get 10% off your very first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. A very convincing win for the Knicks as we roll into segment 2 here on the Locked On Knicks postcast as the Knicks hosted the Wizards tonight. The final of a 4-game homestand. Of course, it began against the Bulls in excruciating fashion, a 1-point loss after a 22-point deficit. And the homestand kicked off in a poor way. However, the Knicks managed to get back on the horse. 2 wins against Brooklyn, of course, a wild one, and then a breezy victory last night. And then, of course, tonight against Washington, 134-106. As we said, the Knicks are now a season high, 2 games above 500. They're 8-6. Perhaps more importantly, they played half their games at home, half their games on the road, and they're 5-2 at home. So they're making the Garden a very difficult place to play. As we said, both teams coming off back-to-backs tonight. Last night, the Knicks beat the Nets. The Wizards fell to the Pistons. And as we said, make it 9 straight losses for Washington. You know it's going to be a difficult year for them. Of those 9 straight losses, 5 of them have been at least 20 points. And again, it bears repeating. Washington has 1 win at home, 1 win away, both those wins coming against Atlanta. Deuce McBride missed his 3rd straight game. He's still suffering from an inflamed left knee. And believe it or not, if I told you 2 months ago the Knicks would be missing Deuce McBride, you probably would have suggested that's nuts. But it's not. McBride has been playing very well off the bench, despite the fact that Cam Payne stepped up tonight. But Deuce will be there coming off the bench. And just think exactly how much tougher and stronger and deeper and lengthier the lineup becomes when you add back Deuce and Precious and Mitchell. Remember, 3 key parts, 3 key cogs to this lineup, both starters and bench play. Very key to get those guys back. Again, Deuce, who has been pleasantly tremendous for the Knicks this season. Again, out with that left knee. He's missed 3 straight games now. And believe it or not, those 3 games, the Knicks have won, both against Brooklyn and then Washington. All right, we talked about the long road trip, and it is killer. It begins Wednesday in Phoenix, a late night start, 10 p.m. Eastern time from Phoenix. That's Wednesday night at the Footprint Center. Who knew? And again, the Knicks will begin that 5-game swing in Phoenix. Next up will be Utah on Saturday. And take note, that is a 5 Eastern time game on Saturday. Tip time again, 5 from Utah at the Delta Center. Then next Monday, a week from tonight, they're in Denver, Ball Arena. Then Wednesday, they're in Dallas. That is, of course, Wacky Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving. They'll be in Dallas. And believe it or not, they get off on Thanksgiving, which, of course, is fun. However, they do not get to return home. Somewhere in between Dallas and Charlotte, the Knicks will celebrate Thanksgiving. Again, Wednesday night, they're in Dallas. So those 4 West Coast games, Phoenix, Utah, Denver, and Dallas, but we're not done with the trip just yet. Then we have to bounce over to Charlotte. Black Friday, a noon tip time at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, again on Black Friday. So here's how that 5-game West Coast swing with a stopover in Charlotte is. Phoenix on Wednesday, Utah Saturday, Denver Monday, Dallas Wednesday, and Charlotte on Black Friday before we finally return home and another 4-game homestand for the Knicks. Again, December 1st is the next time we'll see the Knicks at the Garden. New Orleans, Orlando, Charlotte, and Detroit are all on that homestand. And believe it or not, we get close to Christmas after that. So again, 5 on the road, 4 at home, and that'll get you through mid-December. And of course, the NBA Cup will pick up as well. All right, 134-106. As we said, the Knicks got 26 and 11 from Jalen Brunson. Brunson was a plus 26 in the plus-minus category. Every Knicks starter was at least plus 22. Amazing stuff. And I know we harp on the plus-minus, but it tells you a lot about how a game went, both offensively and obviously defensively. Mikal Bridges had 14, but was a plus 32. And we talked about the distribution, 11 assists for Jalen Brunson tonight, 37 for the Knicks as a team. In fact, they got started early. They scored 40 first quarter points, the highest scoring quarter this season. They did so by knocking down 7 3-pointers and dishing out 11 assists in 12 minutes of play. That was just the first quarter, folks. And again, the shooting was lights out. Knicks were 51 of 91 from the floor, 56% shooting. And get this, they took 43 pointers and made 20 of them. 50% from 3, right on the nose. And amazingly enough, they only missed 1 free throw, 12 of 13. The Knicks were just brilliant tonight. And again, Campaign coming off the bench for 17. Even Pacome Dadier had 3 3-pointers. He had 9. And again, the Knicks win it 134-106. All right, we'll take one last break. We'll set you up for the road trip. We'll break down those numbers once again for tonight. And again, the homestand is over. The road trip begins. All right, listen up, NFL fans. Now is your chance to start the season with a big return. Yep, you can do it with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So here's what you do when you have a hunch in the middle of the game. Go over to FanDuel, check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more. The best part is it's all on the same page where you place your bets. Everything is right there for you. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. All right, you're watching the Locked On Knicks postcast as the Knicks beat the Wizards tonight. My name is Jay Berman. You can follow me on X at JAYBERMAN. Pretty self-explanatory. The Knicks beat the Washington Wizards 134-106. The Knicks led by double digits pretty much the entire way. They got up double digits about midway through the first quarter and never looked back. And as we said, they pumped in 40 in the first quarter. Knicks were led by Jalen Brunson again. He had 26, 11 assists, 1 steal, and did not have a turnover. The Knicks, in fact, dished out 37 assists and had just 8 turnovers, only 3 combined turnovers from the 5 starters. Mikal Bridges had 2 turnovers. Josh Hart had 1. Bagel in the turnover department for OG, Cat, and Jalen Brunson. Again, those 3 players combined, 0 turnovers. All right, 134-106, the final score, as we said. And even more impressive tonight, in the minutes column tonight, featured a 25 next to Karl Anthony Towns' name, and that is just huge. Of course, banged knees in the Chicago game, sat out the first Brooklyn game. Fell on his back last night, looked like it hurt. Finished the game, started this game. You figured he was going to be on a minutes restriction. And he was. Played just 25 minutes, yet pumped in 24 points, grabbed 12 rebounds, made 3 3-pointers, and all 5 of his free throws. All right, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks daily newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Also want to mention our partners in crime over at Locked On Knicks. That's Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf. Again, they handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. All right, Sunday night, the Knicks beat the Nets. Wizards fell to the Pistons. Monday night, Knicks beat the Wizards. So that's 3 wins in a row for New York. They're now 8-6 overall, a season high 2 games, a modest 2 games over 500. Knicks are impressive at home. They're 5-2. As for the Wizards, banked 9 straight losses, and of those 9 losses, 5 of them have been by at least 20 points. All right, the only team, by the way, the Wizards have beaten this year is Atlanta. They beat them twice, once in Atlanta and once in D.C. All right, before we get out of here, one last look at the numbers. Jalen Brunson, 26 points on 9 of 15 shooting, dished out 11 assists. Josh Hart, 14, 6, and 3 as he continues to fill up the stat sheet. He really has been valuable. And as we said, the following Knicks bench players got run tonight: Ryan, Toppin, Sims, Huckporty, Payne, Kolick, and Dadier. And if you're wondering if that's every bench guy, it is. Every bench player played tonight, which is exactly what the doctor ordered for a tired Knicks team that just played 3 games in 4 nights. 134-106 as the Locked On Knicks postcast comes to a close for this night. Again, next up, the Phoenix Suns Wednesday night.